Hi there, my name is Paula Sturm. I'm a registered dietitian and I specialize in complex gut and immune issues with the functional medicine and nervous system approach. So, have you ever noticed the harder you try to heal, the worse your body gets? That's not in your head. Actually, it's a pattern that I see constantly with people that I see in my practice. Oftentimes, these people have gut issues, autoimmune flares, histamine symptoms, a lot of different complex issues going on. And so here's the cycle that usually happens. You get super excited, you want to start a new plan, you maybe find something on the internet or who knows where. You have a new plan that you want to implement and you think it's going to be the magic key, right? It's super exciting. You feel some relief. This might be the thing that actually works. So then we establish really rigid rules for ourselves. We over implement, actually. We start to have diet changes and we have really strict diet changes and we buy a whole bunch of new supplements and we establish a workout routine and we create no flexibility within this routine that we've established in this plan. This can start to feel threatening for our nervous system. We can start to feel hypervigilant. It might start impacting how we sleep. And then our digestive system starts to shut down, and a whole cycle of things can start to unravel after that. Then our symptoms can flare. We start to blame ourselves, and then we start to get even stricter. Maybe we start cutting out carbs, or we work out harder, or we do something that just leads to more collapse. And so then we ditch the plan and we think it doesn't work and we think we've failed. And then we repeat the cycle. We find something else, we get super rigid, and then the whole thing happens all over again. It may not have been the plan necessarily that was to blame. It may just have been that we went too hard into it. We over implemented the plan. And maybe we just needed a little bit more flexibility to allow your nervous system to balance and not get hypervigilant. So, oftentimes, what's happening here, that stress physiology that arises starts to affect our digestion, our motility, our stomach acid, bile, barrier function within your gut. A lot of things can happen digestively. So, this hits people with digestive issues really hard. And that stress physiology pattern starts to occur. So, our cortisol might modulate or raise or lower. All kinds of things with stress starts to happen. Then our blood sugar volatility starts to increase. Our adrenaline, cortisol, the stress signals start to create a vicious cycle with our blood sugar. And that cortisol can really impact insulin and blood sugar signaling. And that blood sugar instability can be a big problem. Also, what can happen is, especially in sensitive bodies, my patients with histamine issues or MCAS-like patterns, autoimmunity, history with trauma, that load really matters. So sometimes when we just try to do all of it, we can create a lot more stress. And those things can even be things that we could consider healthy, those food changes that we would like to make, those workout changes, those lifestyle and sleep changes. Sometimes just all at once can feel a little bit too much for our system at once. So, what we want to try to do is just calm things down a little bit. And everybody requires something different here. There's not a magic rule of thumb. Sometimes we're ready to take on a lot, and other times we aren't. And sometimes we think we're ready to take on a lot, and we do, and then we realize that we really can't. And so it's really about listening to where your body is telling you to go. So if you're feeling like it's too much, it probably is. If it's not feeling like enough, then all right, go ahead and add more. And also know that it might change. You may feel like, oh, this has been working, everything was fine, and then a big stressor comes in and suddenly it all feels like too much. That's important information too, because then we can scale it back. No one says that you have to continue doing everything exactly the way you're doing right now. You can change and modulate. That's life. That happens, and that's okay. So some things that you can do just to kind of simplify things if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, just choose one food or a meal pattern to anchor. Maybe you want to choose one system to work on from a supplement standpoint. Maybe it's blood sugar or gut or wherever it is, inflammation, and then one nervous system practice to help your nervous system through all the changes, and just one. And you really want to work on that blood sugar balance because when our blood sugar gets out of whack, that can add to that stress that your body's feeling. So blood sugar stability is a really important thing to lean back into. So if you feel things got a little crazy, maybe you got one on vacation and it's hard to get back into the swing of things. What can you do to get your blood sugar stabilized? And I'll mention something here in a little bit. So what you can start with first, oftentimes is the best place to start is breakfast. And sometimes that's the only thing that we want to do. If we're feeling super overwhelmed, breakfast it is. We'll just focus there and making sure we're getting enough protein at breakfast. Make sure to pair that with some complex carbohydrates and some healthy fats to sort of help elongate that meal throughout several hours so you're not crashing in an hour or two. So, having some eggs and some avocado, maybe some berries, that would be great to start your day. And instead of starting your day with coffee or caffeine, have that breakfast first and then have your coffee to modulate, make sure that we're not spiking our cortisol right away when we wake up first thing in the morning. And that protein and healthy breakfast in the morning can oftentimes just create more stability in our day from a blood sugar and energy standpoint. So we're not feeling like we're white knuckling the rest of the day with hunger. And if you do feel that way, make sure to eat. Don't, sometimes what we'll do is I'm not going to eat all day. And then by the time we get home, then we're raiding the fridge and eating everything in there. That rebound hunger ends up coming into play later at night. So make sure to eat throughout the day, but sometimes just getting your breakfast lined up helps the rest of the day go smoother. You want to build in some safety cues into your plan. Don't try to tell yourself that you're going to implement everything perfectly and not veer from it. It's wise to give yourself a little bit of a buffer. Start with, all right, I'm going to have, I'm going to allow myself 2 to 3 meals or 2 to 3 days where I'm not quite perfect with my plan. I'm going to ease into it. Maybe 3 or 4 days, I'm going to implement the plan and then give myself a weekend to just sort of relax, integrate, and then see if I want to add in another day. And then try to have a plan. So if you travel or there's social days, weekends sometimes are different. Travel seems to throw everyone off, especially getting back home and getting back into the swing of things. Plan ahead. All right, so I'm going to go do these things this weekend, or I'm taking this trip. What am I going to do when I get back? So when you get back, you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, now I'm back. Now what am I going to do? You've already established that. Planning is such a great thing to do just to reduce a lot of stress in the future. And then instead of tracking everything, like I'm going to track my weight and my measurements and my bloating and my sleep and my brain fog, sometimes all of those symptoms, tracking all of them to see where they're at. Are they getting better yet? Are they getting better that yet? If we constantly focus in on that, that does create that stress as well. So focusing on one thing, and oftentimes there's things, especially if we've been dealing with something for a really long time, it's going to take longer to notice an impact. Just notice maybe, all right, how's my stool consistency? How's my sleep quality? Am I noticing even just a little bit of change in energy? Can I get through a workout better? What am I noticing? Just a small little thing to track. Don't track everything. And if weight is part of that, weight is oftentimes the last thing that will show up as the marker that we're trying to achieve. So, weight oftentimes can be later on. Let's get some of the other things established first. Am I feeling better? What am I noticing is improved within my body and its symptoms? Or am I just better able to manage the plan that I've established? That's a success too. So, track that and be proud of that too. So, try taking your plan and aim to implement it, 3 days, like I said, to start, and then increase from there. Or just start with one thing at a time, like I mentioned, starting with breakfast and then add lunch and then snacks and then dinner. And then work on other things like workouts, body movement, sleep, lifestyle changes, stress management, those types of things. sometimes it's just easier to work those habits in one at a time. And I know we often are in a big hurry to feel better. And so that's why we really want to do all the things. But sometimes that angst of, I need to do all of the things right now, can actually slow down the process of healing too. So stepping back and going slower is often what your body actually needs. So your body doesn't need to heal better under pressure. Your body just doesn't do that. It's when there's pressure, your body's like, wait a second, what's going on? There's a stress here. Let's focus in on what's stressing us out. Your body only heals when it feels safe to heal. So we want to give it that opportunity to feel safe. And so give your body grace and time for the healing process to occur. True healing isn't a quick process, it's foundational. Building those foundations takes time. So be gentle and speak kindly to yourself during the process. So thank you for listening. I hope you found this helpful and come back for more videos.